Hi, welcome back to the channel. It's Will from Touchpoint here, and we've got an absolute banger of a video for you today. Today, we're going to break down shopping feed optimizations and how to make them feel just a little bit less overwhelming. If you've ever opened up Merchant Center and looked at all of the available attributes, you're probably thinking to yourself, gosh, where do I begin? And if you are, this video is for you. I've put together a very simple framework which will show you how to get more impressions, more clicks, and ultimately more sales on your products without you actually having to spend more on ads, just through optimizing your shopping feed and optimizing the products in your shopping feed. This doesn't require you to be a technical expert at all. And I'm even going to include a cheat sheet below that you can grab access to. And finally, I'm going to show you some changes that we're making on behalf of our client, Jackson Bones, to improve their impressions and clicks on their best performing products, which will ultimately lead to more sales without them having to spend more on ads, just from optimizing their titles. Now, before we jump in, at Touchpoint, we're spending millions a month on behalf of brands like Florence London, Tried Equestrian, Jackson Bones, helping them to improve their sales, profit, and returns from their Google search, shopping, and performance max campaigns. So if you are an e-commerce brand and you're spending 4K above, we would love to do you a completely free Google Ads audit, helping you to understand how you can improve your revenue, improve your profit, and ultimately get better performance out of your ads. So if that's you, there'll be a link in the description where you can schedule some time to chat with myself, and then Abby will go ahead and do you a completely free 6 to 8 page audit based on your account, completely bespoke, packed full of value. So if that's you, there's no obligation. Go ahead and schedule some time to chat with us. And now let's jump straight into the video. Okay, so your shopping feed lives inside of Google Merchant Center, right? So we're in Google Merchant Center right now. And if you've only got a handful of products and they very rarely change availability, you can get away with just adding them manually through a Google Sheet, right? But if you've got thousands of products, tens of thousands of products in quite a large e-commerce store, products are going in and out of stock all the time, right, and changing in availability, then you're gonna want to add them automatically, and the feed needs to be updated daily, if not sometimes hourly, for stores with, tens of thousands of products, right? So you can see here we're inside the available product criteria in Google Merchant Center, and this is everything that you can add, right? So you'll see everything from product details to product images, so you add the title and brand and some description in there. You can see product condition and availability here, right? And different product identifiers. So these include things like ID and SKU and GTIN. You've got the language and countries. So, select the countries where you want your online store products to appear. You've got everything from sort of marketing methods and labels, custom labels, which, they're very important. And so much more additional information that it can feel incredibly overwhelming. You've got shipping and returns on here as well, which can be very confusing because normally shipping and returns are added in a different separate part of Merchant Center, but you can sort of manually override them here. And it just seems to confuse the living daylights out of people. So what I have done for you is I have essentially made a Google Shopping Feed optimization checklist. Now, in this checklist, you're going to have your must-have feed attributes. So without these, your shopping ads won't run. These need to be added. You're going to have your nice-to-have attributes. So they're not mandatory, but they improve targeting and they can improve ad performance. And then we're going to go through the, big 6 performance movers, right? So when it comes to sort of the mandatory fields, you need to make sure that these are added. Otherwise, your ads just won't run. So everything from product IDs, title, description, price, GTIN, essentially you need to make sure this information is included, because the majority of these, if you don't have them, your ads just will not run. They'll be disapproved. Now, when it comes to nice to have attributes, I have put highly recommended by some of these. So the ones that have highly recommended beside them are definitely worth looking at. And then you've got the custom labels as well, which we'll come on to, which is also highly recommended. I think, to be honest with you, this one is the biggest needle mover if done correctly. So the 6 big performance movers, what are they? And I've ranked them in order of impact. So price. When it comes down to price, price is almost always the deciding factor. If you're selling the same product as your competitor, the cheaper listing will almost always win, no matter how perfect the rest of your feed is. Competitive pricing has been shown to boost impressions and click share volume, which ultimately improves performance of your ads. Now, your price isn't just about the product cost, it's the total cost that the customer pays. So if you're selling something for £10, but you add £5 in shipping, you're less competitive than someone charging £12 with free shipping. Both shoppers and Google look at the total cost, not just the sticker price of the item, not just the cost of the product. Title. Title is incredibly important in improving your clicks and impressions, right? Most people don't realize, or most brands don't realize, and to be honest with you, most agencies don't action this. Title optimizations inside Merchant Center will essentially improve the clicks and improve your impressions and ultimately get you better performance from your ads and make sure that more of your ideal customers are seeing your ads, right? So optimizing product titles has had one of the biggest impacts on clicks and impressions. It's an important element that you can fully control. So prioritize the word order. So put the most valuable keywords at the start. Google reads up to 150 characters, but titles in searches may only appear and they may cut off at 30 characters. So think like your customer when you're doing this. When it comes to shopping ads specifically, your product title is your search, right? So think of your product title as almost your keyword. If you look at your product title and you go, well, that's definitely not the way that my customer would search, then it more than likely means that a lot of your customers that are looking for you online cannot find you. And that is a problem. So you need to think like your customer. Do they start searching with the brand, the model, the part number, the product type? Do we need to simplify the color? Like for instance, we'll come on to an example for the Hoka running shoes here, but you need to use the real data as well, which also really helps. So for instance, you can look at, if you're running shopping ads, you can look at the search term report, and in the search term report, you'll be able to see the types and the ways, essentially what people are searching to find your products, right? And so if you notice that they're searching in a very particular way, but it matches your product, exactly, and you think, okay, great, yeah, well, maybe I didn't think of this, but that's clearly the way that my customers are searching for me. You can make sure that you're adding some of those elements, some of those attributes into your title, which will help with getting you more exposure from customers that are looking to find your products. So we've got an example here from Hoka men's running shoes, and then we'll come on to an example at the end for Jackson Bones that we're currently working on with them that has, or we expect to improve clicks and impressions on the product titles and how we're going about optimizing those. But this is an example of a bad title. Green shoes, size 11 for men, and this is for the Hoka running shoes, right? So if we were to improve this title, what's it missing? It's missing the brand. I mean, not mentioned Hoka anywhere. It doesn't say running shoes. These could be, dress shoes. It could be anything. And there's no keywords or selling points included in this title. So how do we improve it? Well, here's how we've improved this title. So we've got the brand and we've got the main product type first. So we've got Hoka, and then we've got men's running shoes, and then we've included the size and the color, right? So we've gone for size 11 green, and then we've added some descriptive search for keywords that we found inside our search term report, right? So lightweight running trainers or lightweight road trainers in this particular case. You'll see here, when you're getting access to this, so you'll be able to see all of these. So if you're in apparel or consumables, you might change the way that this is done, but there's examples for each. And then number 3 is GTIN. So this is how you boost, your GTIN is essentially your identifier, your product identifier. So making sure that you've got your GTIN in place allows Google to more accurately match your product with the category and so forth. So essentially, there's a GTIN tool here. You can just click on this. You can search for your product and you'll be able to essentially find the GTIN that matches your products. I won't spend too much time on that, but just make sure it's added. And then when it comes to number 4, this is image. So the better the image, the more clicks the product's going to get ultimately in Google Shopping. And so using high quality images with clean white or transparent backgrounds, make sure that you've got no watermarks, no text overlays, because Google will disapprove it if you do. Avoid quick desktop snaps, so I've said here. So don't go trying to shoot products with with your phone and, they're low resolution, low quality and off center. You want to have really high quality product images that look great on Google Shopping. Now, this is something that we would also test, which is lifestyle shots versus polished studio images. So you will find that when you're looking for your products, if you look for the products that you sell on Google Shopping, you'll find that your competitors are using lifestyle imagery and then some are just using sort of like more polished studio images. We'd like to test this because typically when we're working with brands, we find one of those different image formats works better, but there's no set science to it. It just needs to be tested. So that's number 5. Description. So how to balance your keywords for clarity. So descriptions aren't as important as title. You spend most of your time focusing on improving the title, but the description does help. So include your main keywords, include relevant secondary keywords that feel natural. Don't just stuff it with keywords. Ensure it's readable for humans while signaling relevance to Google. So make it relevant. Like I mentioned, don't pack it with keywords just to try and improve your SEO. From testing descriptions, changes, they don't move the needle as much as titles, but they're still worth optimizing. Just don't make it the main focus. Don't spend ages worrying too much about descriptions. Category. So we want to make sure that we've essentially got like a Google product category assigned. So you can go through this taxonomy list and you can essentially find the product category that best suits the products that you're advertising. Just make sure it's added. It's almost like a signal to Google as to what you're advertising, which helps to make sure that they're including you in more relevant auctions. And that's all I will mention on there. There's a link here for this taxonomy list. Now, that's the 6 of the ones that you should add. But when it comes to your hidden secret performance improver, that is custom labels. Custom labels are so important. They don't directly affect your feed quality, but they can completely change your campaign performance, right? So what is a custom label essentially? It's a way of basketing a product inside your shopping feed. So, if you were to upload your entire shopping feed to a campaign, you'll have all products in one campaign, right? So you aren't able to sort of bucket off and optimize your campaigns. You might have, 40% of products that do terribly, 20% that do amazingly, and the rest do okay, right? So what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to split the products out the way that we would like them to, the way that we feel it works best, right? So we might split bestsellers. We might pull all of your bestsellers and put them into one campaign and then split them by different category at the ad group level. Or we might do profit margin because we want all of our high profit stuff in one campaign. Seasonality, we might decide to split our specific seasonal products so they've got their own budget for a set period of the year. Or pricing tier, right? So we might decide anything that's got over £100 price, $100 price gets put into its own campaign. For new products, we want to test new products. So we've got, we know we've got like 100 products being launched in January, right? We want to test all of them together rather than putting them into old campaign with lots of bestsellers. It's just going to cannibalize the spend. So I put why we use them. So if you're spending 10K a month on shopping ads and all products are lumped into one campaign, you might discover that £4,000 a month of that is going towards your poor performing products. Custom labels lets you isolate the winners from the losers so you can reallocate budget, which will improve your ROAS without raising your spend. So here's some frameworks that we use for this. You can see here, I've mentioned this above, so I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but it's all pretty self-explanatory. But this control will let you push high margin products. It will let you clear out seasonal stock fast, and it will allow you to pause unprofitable products. Now, when it comes to making sure that your feed is well built out, the more complete your feed is, the better Google will understand your products. Now, if you're spending, let's say 10K a month or above, you might be better off using a feed optimization tool like Data Feed Watch. You can see, I think Data Feed Watch is roughly like €54, which I would imagine equates to something like between 40 and 60 pounds/dollars, right? It's not particularly expensive, but it will help when it comes to being able to segment off Merchant Center is great, but it can be very consuming, very time consuming, and very tricky to work sometimes when you've got lots of products and lots of SKUs. So we would always recommend using a tool like Data Feed Watch to manage your feed. It will let you test, it will let you automate, it will let you control your feed at scale, basically. There are other tools You know, there's plenty of other feed management tools, but we've just found the Data Feed Watch is great for us, and we use it for all of our clients. Now, I mentioned to you at the start of this video that we were going to go through a real world example from a customer that we're working with, from a client we're working with called Jackson Bones. And we've been working with them for a very long time now. We're going to start optimizing their titles thoroughly end to end, which we believe will massively improve performance as it has done for our other clients. And so right now they're pulling their titles directly from Shopify, but the problem is that their titles aren't full of keywords that customers are actually searching for. This will mean that their products aren't showing up when their customers are searching for them. Now, here's an example of a product that we're going to be optimizing. This is the Bumble Terra Lounge Bed. Obviously, this is a dog bed, right? But there's no way of telling it's a dog bed by looking at the title. And so the title needs to be optimized, right? So the Bumble Terra Lounge Bed is fine if you're already on their site, but completely meaningless for shopping ads. So we've basically used this framework to rebuild it. So we've got the main keyword, the type/style, the color, and then the material or the feature, and then brand. So here's an optimized version of this title. So dog lounge bed, sofa style, orange plush velour, washable cover, jacks and bones. Why does this work? So the main keyword, you can see dog lounge bed, it's clear, very searchable. The type and the style, sofa style, it tells people what the design is. So we're changing the color because the color is orange. I suppose you could call it rust, but it's essentially it's orange. And that's a translation from Terra. It's very obvious that no one's going to be coming to Google looking for a Terra lounge bed. The material feature, plush velour, washable cover. So we're making it feel premium. We're giving it sort of like, we're adding in that sort of like, you know, easy maintenance identifier there, and the brand, which is Jackson Bones. So that is the name of the brand, Jackson Bones. So that's how we're optimizing their product titles, and you can do the same, and you can see, you know, great uplifts in impressions and clicks, and ultimately make sure that when your customers, your ideal customer is coming to Google searching for you, that they can find you without any problems at all, with ease, right? It means that you're going to get more clicks and more impressions and more sales, and ultimately better performance from your ads from optimizing your product titles. So there you have it. That's how to optimize your Google shopping feed, and hopefully it sounds a little bit less daunting at the task. And make sure that you go ahead and grab access to the resource that I mentioned below, and make sure you're adding all of your must-have attributes whilst thinking about those top 6 performance drivers, including your custom labels. And if you have found value from this video, consider giving it a like or a subscribe. We're going to be posting weekly, and if you're an e-commerce brand doing over 4K a month in advertising spend, but you're just not quite happy with the performance of your ads, it could be revenue, it could be ROAS, we would love to do a completely free audit for you. So if that's you, go ahead and click the link in the description. You'll be able to book some time with myself, and then Abby will go ahead and produce the audit for you. That'll all be returned to you in a PDF, absolutely no obligation, and I'm always there if you need any help. If you've got any questions whatsoever in regards to feed optimization, then drop a comment below. We're replying to all comments at the moment, and we're on our way to our first 50 subscribers. So thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.